Yeah. Okay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our weekly live stream. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in the world. As you come in, please do us a massive favor. Smash the like button. Say hello. Let us know where you're coming in from. Coach Stephen, how was your holiday?
It was fantastic. It was fantastic. Yeah, it was good. 125,000 steps we did in 6 days, not per day. That was total. 60 miles of walking, but that was spread over sort of a very long day. We were out at 7 in the morning, back late at night. Traveling by public transport to different places and trains along the coast and watching the local fishermen. We did some nature reserve stuff where out on the sea. It's the southernmost part of Portugal, and that's where the sardines are and clams. And oh man, it was fantastic. It was really good. Had some problems as always with carnivore. Oh yeah, incidentally, I was in a back street, and I was just walking along with Jane, and somebody came out of a shop and went, "Oh, Coach Stephen, you're Coach Stephen." I went, "I am," and it was a gentleman called Neil Franks who had emailed me previously. So that was a weird thing to be spotted. Yeah, that was odd, but good, nice guy, and his partner. So that was excellent. Yeah, just very, very good. But one day we got caught out, or I got caught out, but there was a restaurant there which looked like it knew what it was doing when it came to meat. The restaurant wall was covered with pictures of cows and, all that sort of stuff. And I thought the lamb shank was going to be fabulous, but I found out that from my first bite, by the way, that it had been marinated in curry powder all afternoon. So... Oh, how to ruin a really good chunk of lamb. It was unbelievable. But it was great. In the end, it was really good.
It's interesting that it was Portugal. So I actually interviewed a gentleman from Portugal yesterday, and we were talking about restaurants.
Yeah.
And he was telling me the thing about Portugal is in restaurants in Portugal, they still and historically haven't taken food sensitivities very seriously. So like if you go into a restaurant in Portugal and you tell them you've got a food allergy to something or you've got some sensitivities or whatever, he said, don't trust that they're going to pay any attention to it.
Oh, really?
Because they think things like gluten intolerance and stuff like that are just made up. is what he said. Yeah.
Well, Portugal has the lowest percentage of ultra processed food in the whole of Europe. It is more healthy.
It
is more healthy over there, and or healthful, I should say, really. And we had tenderloin cooked at the table, so they sort of mega heat up a slab of, I think it's marble actually, but they heat something up, or slate, I should say, and then they bring the tenderloin, plonk it on and cook it. And it was very good.
Nice. Yeah. I'm feeling hungry now.
I think you've got a super chat or two, actually, by the way.
Yeah, we got some questions. Yeah. So thank you very much for your super chat, Stags Master. Question. I'm trying to troubleshoot my 1 to 3 a.m. wake up. So fast until 1 p.m. Have 2 meals per day, 2 steaks or eggs and ground beef. Both meals are similar. I salt my foods. Could it be not enough fats? I'm 6'2", 98 kilos, and resistance training.
Yeah, well, there's a big clue in there. Firstly, yes, thanks for the super chat. I think you might want to eat a little bit later. So 1 to 3 a.m. is a sort of classic when your glycogen can drop a little bit, which is normal for some people. But if you're resistance training and you're working out hard, you might find that it's dropping a little bit too much. So what will happen is you will your body, there's a thing called cortisol, which isn't a stress hormone, it's a homeostatic hormone, and it will work to bring your blood glucose back up, and that can actually kickstart you into a little bit of waking up. So that would be the first thing. I would make sure that you're eating enough, so maybe eat a little bit later. You might be under eating. That would be that would be the actual core root cause of it, but I like people to know the mechanism. So yeah, I would make sure that you're eating enough fat as well. So you could, with your steak and eggs and ground beef, make sure that it's 20% fat ground beef. That would be good. You could add a little bit of butter or tallow or something to the meals. That, I think that would help. If you are having trouble sleeping because you're getting up to urinate, then make sure you're make sure that your hydration is correct, that you're not over drinking pure water. Make sure that you sip water with mineral water. That works. Just mineral water. That, as long as you've got minerals in it, and you could add a little pinch of salt as well if you wanted to. If you're doing 2 meals a day, yeah, that's a lot of fasting. So just make sure you're getting enough food, and maybe just before bed you could have an extra bit of food, or you could do a supplement like magnesium glycinate. So you could either naturally help your sleep with food. You could try that, or you could try magnesium glycinate if the extra little bit of food doesn't work.
Could you maybe try a little bit of butter before bed or something like that?
Something like that.
I've heard people say that sometimes helps them.
Yeah, a little bit of that will be hunky-dory.
I made that video recently about the salt thing I've been doing, and like adding more salt throughout the day because I wasn't having enough, and that's helping me with my sleep. And the other thing that's helping with is not over drinking water, especially at night.
Yes, absolutely.
Because that was an issue for me. That was a big issue for me, and that, like, I can have a bottle of water sitting there at 4 p.m. and it's still sitting there at 9 p.m. at night because I haven't needed to go near it. So, yeah, that consistent salt really helps. Thank you very much for your question there, Stags Master. And we just got another super chat come through. I'll just show that one up.
That's very good, isn't it? Thank you for the super chat.
Yeah,
it does help, actually. It does really help, doesn't it? Because
much appreciated. Yeah. Yes. So from Martin, I'm 2 weeks into carnivore, eating mainly ribeyes, eggs, and rump steaks, and I have a nasty right side headache. How to battle that? Using Himalayan salt also.
Good. Well, welcome to carnivore. 2 weeks in. So you're going through the transition. The biggest thing when you go carnivore is the water retention, which might be causing your headache. When you eat carbs, I think it's pretty well known that for every gram of carbohydrate, you have 3 grams of water. So once you stop having the carbohydrates, the water weight, this is where you lose a lot of water weight for some people in the initial stages. So you're possibly a little bit dehydrated. So make sure that you do drink the appropriate amount of water, which is not drinking loads of pure water, like I say, like a mineral water, a little bit of salt added, just sip it throughout the day. If your urine is clear, you're drinking too much, which can happen. And if it's dark, you're not drinking enough. So you can use a free way of doing it. You can look at your urine and gauge how you're doing with your fluid balance, basically. So I think that would be the basic main thing. So make sure that your urine is pale straw coloured. I say this all the time. Pinch of salt in your mineral water. You could try a little bit of bone broth. Some people like that. I'm not a fan of bone broth, but that can actually resolve headaches. A small amount of water like this with a quarter teaspoon of salt. And if you drink that quite quickly, 20 minutes later, that headache should go. But I think it's a rite of passage. Sorry, headaches are a really common thing. It's not a sign that something's going wrong necessarily. So it should resolve itself, definitely. Hopefully that's helpful, Martin. And it's great that you found Dave with just 2 weeks into carnivore. That's pretty good, isn't it? I mean, you've come to the best place you could possibly come.
Yeah, well, thank you, Martin, and congratulations on being 2 weeks in. And it's onwards and upwards from here.
It is.
It's awesome. So I just seen the next question. So from Fatty Food, first of all, good morning from Montreal, Canada. Good morning. Can you explain the days in the life of our bowel movements? So what's that show? This Is Your Life?
Here's some sweet corn. You didn't think you'd see him again, but he's here. And
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I suppose what you're asking is about digestion, I'm thinking. So digestion starts in the mouth. Very underestimated. So it's mechanical digestion. That's the first thing. You're breaking down everything. Amylase the saliva breaks down carbs if you've got any carbs. Obviously, not a big issue if you're carnivore. Then it gets into your stomach, and you've got pepsine, and you've got the acid in there that breaks it down, and you've got fats that need to be emulsified. So in your stomach, you're talking about 2 to 4 hours. The way the stomach is drawn, like, it's a sack, and there's this pool of acid in there, when it plops into that and splashes. But that's not really what happens. It goes into the stomach. The stomach has what's called rouge in there. So it's like little pits, and basically it can expand, and it secretes what it needs to secrete. So food isn't passive. It tells the body, it breaks down, and it tells the body what's needed, what level of acidity, and everything like that. So that's 2 to 4 hours, let's say. Then it goes into the small intestine, the wiggly thing that you see that when people draw that. That's where they get really nuanced if you want. So the duodenum, that's where you inject the bile. The bile goes into there, and it breaks down the fat, emulsifies it. Emulsification happens there, and that's like 4 to 6 hours. Once it leaves your small intestine, then it enters the colon, and you've got the ascending colon going up and transverse across, and then down again, and then it reaches your rectum. It's really that simple. And that the transit time is really varied, and women and men have a big variation, but in essence, it's between 24 to 72 hours. So from there to coming out the other end, could be a day, could be 3 days. Depends on your physiology, your activity, your fluid balance, everything, but that's it. And your sex as well, obviously. So yeah, that's it, I think.
Cheers. And so I've got a follow-up question on this, just to keep it on bowels.
I should have used this. I've got a little.
You got a diagram.
Yeah, I could have gone down all that, but I didn't. Anyway, maybe next time.
So I remember someone I worked with would, like, after lunch, would find themselves in the bathroom, like, basically every day. He would disappear for a while. That's not that it's going straight through him, is it? Like,
no,
it would take longer than that, right?
Let's be really basic. What's happening there? You imagine a long pipe. You've got a pipe like that, and it's full of ping pong balls, right? And there's one at the end, exit, and this is the entrance. You put something in the entrance.
It's just pushing it along.
Yeah, sort of. That's very basic, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So, because you kind of start to think sometimes, what's wrong? What's happening? Are you sick?
Doing that reminds me of the Homer Simpson thing. Like, he says, every time some new information goes in this ear, another bit falls out the other.
Right. Yeah. Thank you for your question, Fatty Food. We've got a question here from Jules.
Jules.
Okay. Ages ago, I researched vitamin K2 and decided MK7 all trans would be best. Now I can't remember why. Recently, you've mentioned a preference for MK4. Can you advise further, please?
Well, yeah, basically speaking, the body seems to prefer MK4. The MK47, but there's loads actually, is just showing you the length of the tail. So the MK7 sticks around longer, but MK7 has to be converted to MK4 at the tissue level anyway. So if you're looking at a supplement and you want it to stick around for a long period of time, many people say about MK7, but MK4 is basically what your body will use. So MK7 is all trans, by the way. It's just the configuration, and it has a longer half-life. That's basically what I said last week, I think. But yeah, MK4 is what's directly used by the tissue. So there is only one little proviso. If you are supplementing, normally it's with people that do D3 and D3 and K2. So MK4 and MK7 are versions of K2, and some people find that if they have that combination with MK4, they can have a little bit of palpitation or heart sensitivity reduced. So if they're trying MK7 and you're getting heart palpitations, you could revert to MK4 anyway, and you might see that it's better tolerated actually. Which is another little thing, but that doesn't happen a lot. I don't want people to think MK7 is bad, because it isn't. Just to think MK4 is more tolerated, and it's what the body uses anyway.
And a follow-up question from Ben. So is MK7 better for clearing calcification?
No, not really, because actually what you're talking about is the activation of the glia protein and matrix glia protein, and also osteocalcin, which is the things that move calcium. So those two things are activated by K2, which can be MK7 or MK4. And what those two things do is the glia protein stops the calcium going into the tissue, and osteocalcin moves it to where it should go. And that's activated by K2 as well.
So it doesn't matter which one.
Well, MK4 is better, but I'm just saying you can still use MK7.
Okay. Cool bananas.
But it's K2. It's the version of K2. You can either have MK7 or MK4, but it's the fact you've got K2 that's the primary thing that you're trying to do.
Right. So guys, if you've got any questions, please stick a Q in front of it, and we'll get to those. We've got another one here from Burns Aquatics. Do you both eat organ meats, and if so, which ones do you eat or recommend? I eat liver maybe once every couple of weeks.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, I do that. I like liver. I actually like it. So I have lamb's liver.
Yeah, I've got cow's liver, I think. Yeah. But yeah, I have about 90 grams of that every couple of weeks, fried up. Yeah. People say you should have it raw, but I can't bring myself to do it raw.
I've had it raw, and it's really lovely. It is really, really nice, surprisingly. But you have to have it very fresh. So I got that from a butcher's, and we knew that it was incredibly fresh, and it was lovely actually, surprising. But I couldn't have eaten very much of it.
Really?
Yeah, it was just one of those things that it tasted nice. This is weird, isn't it? It tasted nice, but I didn't want to eat a lot of it. So there was definitely something about it that didn't quite fit.
Batman is carnivore.
Really?
Are
you telling me that? Is Batman carnivore?
I just found out my niece, 22, lives in Japan, has IgA nephropathy. Do you have any experience advice? I'm guessing she'll be on ACE inhibitors and corticosteroids, which will not be great for her.
Well, we can't give you doctor's advice. This is just for information, really. IgA. So you have all these different immunoglobulins. So you have IgG, for instance. That's the most common one. A is the second most common one. So when you get these responses, and some people say, "Oh, I was all right for a couple of days," and then 3 days later I wasn't. That can tell you whether it's IgA or IgG or IgM, IgE, IgD. There's loads, and it goes in that sort of sequence there of working on you, right? So if she's the thing is, this tends to be coming from the gut. If you've got an unhealthy gut, then that would be the best thing to address, really, to be honest. Generally speaking, like I say, it's not medical advice. So you want to remove things like gluten and lectins. That would be the best things. For IgA, definitely, there are so many studies. That would be the thing to go down the route of, to be honest, is to look at gluten and lectin removal and look at studies for that, because honestly, that. And so do your Google search, IgA, lectins, gluten, and you will see that removal of those two compounds definitely is going to be beneficial for this particular issue.
Thank you for your question, Batman.
Batman is carnivore. Apparently, I really like that. Sorry, it's just made me laugh because you said it like it was a fact. Batman is carnivore.
From Dr. Volker Menzel. Do you think that a low tyrosine level on carnivore can be a cause for the MTHFR gene mutation, and therefore a 5-methylfolate supplement might help? Of course, no medical advice.
Yes, well, Volker, I think, is I wonder if that's actually somebody that he deals with in particular, or if it's your own. I have a little chart here, actually, which sort of explains MTHFR, if you ever want that. But anyway, right. So what's the question? A low tyrosine level on carnivore. Yeah, I think that is possible. So yes, a methylfolate supplementation would definitely be a thing to do. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think the answer is in the question, because if you've identified that is a possibility, then that would be one way to resolve things, to be honest, because it's going to work. But you could do some blood testing first. You could check the homocysteine level if you wanted to, and I think that might help identify stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think you've made an assertion there that is bang on. That would be a really good thing to do. It's difficult to answer without giving medical advice, isn't it, really? But yeah, I think, it's a good question. You've interviewed Volker, haven't you?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. Very nice guy.
Very nice.
Very knowledgeable.
Yeah. Okay, so let me go down here. Hang on. Liz wants to know, you guys like chicken livers? It's a southern thing. Chicken is creeping. Well, I just posted something on my Facebook that Peter, the People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, posted something on X today that said chickens are not food, and they got community noted, and it says chickens are food, and it's the link to the Wikipedia article. But to answer your question, I haven't had chicken livers, so I don't know if I like them or not.
I've had chicken. Well, I've had chicken heart, actually. Chicken liver pate, does that count? That was, I mean, I've had that.
Yeah. I think I've had chicken heart, but that was at my drinking stage, so I don't remember what it tasted. It just tasted like beer at that point. So, Summer Carl, thank you very much for your super chat. Hi, my friend's dad has pulmonary fibrosis. A quick PubMed check says it involves dysregulated glycolysis and the Warburg effect without being cancerous. Can a ketogenic carnivore diet help? And if so, how?
Well, oh boy, right.
It's just medical advice up the wazoo today.
Yeah. Yes. So yes, yes, Warburg-like metabolism is exhibited in that particular condition, and again, basically, at its most basic, these cells become glucose hungry, right? So the fact that you're removing glucose from your diet would modify, I'm not saying cure, would modify the disease potentially, because you're taking away one of the main fuel supplies. But of course, there are other fuels that can be used, like glutamine. So I did do a Substack about this in general. This is a bit too specific, really. The super chat is really appreciated. So there are knock-on effects. So you've asked why does it help? Right. So firstly, it reduces glucose availability, which is when you scan for cancers, or you scan for myofibroblast activity as well, which is what we're talking about here. You are looking at glucose metabolism. That's what you're looking for. So removing glucose is very good. Then you're increasing ketones. So ketones are anti-inflammatory. So that is an excellent thing. You're reducing oxidative stress, which is damaging. You're reducing insulin, which is pro-fibrotic. So, that is a good thing, obviously, in this thing here. And then you've got glycine and proline, which are the proteins that you'll be eating. And they help with your immune regulation. But I think it's a question. Well, there's enough answer there, I think, to satisfy the super chat. But I think that if you want to get into more weeds, you really should do a consultation, I think, with someone who knows what's going on. But hopefully that would help. But yes, definitely, this way of eating should help modify or at least dampen down the symptoms or give the person a better chance of recovery in conjunction with what their physician says. Good question.
Thank you very much for the super chat and for your question, Summer. Okay. I've still got some questions tagged there that I should have untagged. Okay. From Ben. I do a fast 3 days every month, but I'm keen to maybe do more often or longer. For the autophagy phase, rather than the fat loss, is every 2 weeks optimal?
Fast 3 days every month. I mean, firstly, that's pretty good. I like that. 72-hour fast seem to be optimal for a lot of people. You don't have to go to 3 days because you will see autophagy increase after 24 hours, 48 hours, obviously. But yeah, 72 seems to be optimal for things like finding that third day easy, because you're in the main, most people find that their appetite reduces. By the third day, they're often very surprised or almost forgotten about food. But yeah, so should you do autophagy every 2 weeks rather than every month? Well, I think I'm going to give you a really rubbish answer, Ben. It's down to the individual. So you could try it for, every couple of months for 2 weeks. And if you feel better, then do it. If you feel worse, because obviously if you're also active, you've got to get the balance right of nutrition that you require in relation to your activity and your recovery, and also, many other things. So I think, yeah, I would just try it. I can't say whether it would be definitely better or not, but yeah, give it a go. Trial and error is, not a bad thing to try. So go for that.
So one of the things that I've been thinking about regarding fasting that kind of concerns me a little bit with my body is since I realized the problems I was having with salt and sleeping, and that the lack of salt may have been contributing to cortisol spiking more than it should. I kind of worry, like, if I do a fast, is that going to affect my cortisol negatively? Like, if it's something I'm already concerned about.
If you're right, why are you concerned about your cortisol?
Because waking up early morning, like 2 a.m., 3 a.m.
And you think fasting will make it worse because of your stressing your body, yeah? Yeah. Well, yes, exactly.
Okay.
Which is what we said earlier to somebody. That what will happen is you'll get that classic 1 a.m., 3 a.m. glycogen dip. So therefore cortisol, which isn't a stress hormone, is a homeostatic hormone, will go, oh, we need a little bit more blood sugar. It will spike the blood sugar a little bit or move it up. I don't like the word spike, but everyone seems to understand that. To get you to a homeostatic level that the body finds acceptable, but it has the upshot sometimes of waking you up. It's really simple, isn't it? So if you don't fast, or if you eat, better way to say it, you possibly won't have that glycogen dip, and therefore you won't have the body saying, oh, we need to bump it up a little bit. You won't have the cortisol doing its job, and therefore you might sleep better.
Right.
So, again, it's just trial and error, Dave, to be honest.
Yeah. I think one of the things I've learned over the last 3.5, nearly 4 years is really you do have to kind of, to use something Bart would say, you do have to kind of twiddle the knobs to work out what is the kind of optimum for yourself, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for your question, Ben. Question from Urush. I am suffering severe restlessness in legs and arms at night. Can't even sleep for more than 2 months. I'm 90% on high-fat carnivore from a few months, having enough salt.
Well, you don't want to sleep for 2 months. That's the first thing. Right. It's just the way that's written. Sorry. Yeah. Restlessness in arms, like I can't sleep for more than 2 months. Right. So, yeah, 90% high fat. You see, I would think that is more of an electrolyte issue than anything else, and maybe that is a little bit too high a fat percentage for my liking. I think I would reduce the fat, and I would increase my protein pro rata. So you're still eating the same sort of volume of food. It could be as simple as a magnesium deficiency. I suppose everyone's going to go, everyone says magnesium. Could be potassium as well, but magnesium is the first port of call if you can't fix it with diet. So I would look at reducing the... Right, let's actually just backtrack. If anything is happening to your body in any way, shape or form, it is feedback about something not being quite right in your diet. It's not the lack of something necessarily. You're not. It's not the lack of a magnesium supplement, but it is a lack of fluid balance or electrolyte balance, which you're not getting from your food. So if you eat the right amount of food, so slightly more protein, slightly less fat, you might find that the electrolyte balance starts to sort itself out anyway. Or you could be over drinking, for instance. There's many different reasons. But if we go back to that particular person's problem, you could reduce the fat, try that. If not, you could try a magnesium glycinate before bed, which would be quite good, or malate, which is all right. But glycinate tends to be better tolerated for most people. It could be oxalate dumping. See, this is the other thing. I know it's a bit of a catch-all. So, I don't know how long you are into your journey. This could be a transition. There's many things it could be, but I would firstly look at maybe a little bit more protein, a little bit less fat. Look at my hydration. Make sure my urine is straw-coloured, and if all else fails, I would try a magnesium glycinate supplement. Just give that a whirl, really.
Thank you very much for your question. And from Dr. Menzel, chronic nasal mucosa swelling can be caused by candida. any natural treatment instead of nystatin spray?
Ooh. Some people use a salt pipe, which is, as it says on the tin, it's a little thing that you just put some salt in, and some people put a drop of iodine in it and they just inhale that, because that's sort of like an anti fungal, antimicrobial thing. We've got one. Jane doesn't use it that much, but she did have nose problems, and she found that was very helpful. You could look at, I used to when I was keto, but not carnivore. I don't use it since carnivore. I used to use a saline sodium bicarbonate thing, which I would mix up, and I would put my nose like that, and I'd get a syringe and just syringe it up, bend back, and oh boy, that clears it really quickly. That was fantastic, actually.
You remind me of doing that with your nose. It reminds me of when the plane's landing, like it's
Yes,
your nose is all blocked up and you've got to try and clear the
you have to pop it
bubble.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they see, I had that with my hearing. Someone said to me years ago, oh, it's permanent damage. You have permanent damage. And I said, well, then why does it get better when I unpop my ears? Because I think it's a eustachian tube problem rather than permanent nerve damage. And they just didn't want to know. So they didn't listen. Doctors don't listen. I don't know if you've ever come across anyone ever tell you that, but they just don't listen.
Yeah, I've come across many a doctor in my life like that.
Yes.
Andy's pants. I'm also a fan of fasting, but worry about my already too high cortisol. Do you recommend something like the popular 3-day sardine challenge instead?
Isn't that weird? So that's what my Substack was about yesterday, about the sardine challenge. Because when I bought sardines back from Portugal. These are sardines from Portugal.
Ooh.
And those were caught about 4 miles from where I bought them. And they were, what's the word? They were canned locally and everything. So, yeah. You could try the 3-day sardine challenge, but make sure that, firstly, can you get sardines in glass rather than tin? Well, if you can't, then get them in tin, but not contained in anything other than brine, if possible. That's what I would say. And Andrea, or Andy's pants, which I like. That's what I would try. Yeah, I'd give that a try. If you're not enjoying fasting, that's the whole point of the sardine challenge, in a way, that you're still eating, but you've got to like sardines, because otherwise it's just horrible.
Yeah, I like that. It's an acquired taste. Sardines for me were like beer when I was a kid. It's an acquired taste. When you first taste it, you just want to spit it everywhere. After a while, it grows on you. Okay. I'm probably mispronouncing this. Jean, having inflammation and histamine problems can't seem to solve. Eating ground lamb and chuck roast mostly for a year now. Have you heard of thiamine chloride in higher doses helping inflammation?
Yeah, I think that might be something that Elliot Overton talks about. I'm not sure. Ground beef and chuck roast are relatively low histamine, so you're doing the right thing, aren't you, with the food choices? So that's good. And yes, B1 definitely, thiamine definitely is good for reducing inflammation for some people, so that's good. And then you've got the fat soluble version, which I tried, of B1 TDFD, which I didn't think really worked that well. I mean, you could try it. That's another thing. It's very individual, isn't it? All this stuff is individual, and I think if you can try it and it improves things, because you are doing the inputs are right, you've lowered the histamine coming in. You could look at another thing. You could look at DAO, diamine oxidase, which is an enzyme that naturally breaks down histamine afterwards. So you've got inputs coming in, which is your food, and then you've got what the body does inside, and then as the histamines are cleared, that's one of the things you could look at as well. DAO as a supplement. That's it really. But yes, or you could try the thiamine chloride and see how it goes.
Thank you for your questions, Jean.
Yeah, good questions. Very good questions today. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Why is there so many?
They're coming. We were off for a week, so maybe that's why.
Do you reckon that's what it is? Do you think
maybe,
that is what it is?
Maybe.
How many viewers have we got today then? Has it been?
We've got 119 people in at the moment.
Okay, is that good?
Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Beaumont.
Mr. Beaumont.
What's the difference between normal Cyactive and Cyactive joint flex, and why does one affect systemic inflammation and the other musculature?
Well, I am not the expert in this. You know who is, though? Professor Bart Kay. But Cyactive is a single ingredient nutraceutical, really. So there's your answer, really. It's a single ingredient, and it's a selective COX-2 inhibitor. That's it. So that's what Cyactive does. And that is what Jane is taking, which maybe is what is generating this question. My wife, she does pole fit. She fell off the pole. She hurt her ribs. She's got a little bit of inflammation, which we thought might go with just the walking in Portugal, and the rest from not working. It's still hanging around a little bit. So we've started the Cyactive this week, and I think within a week that sort of low level inflammation will go. And the joint flex basically is a multi ingredient formulation, really. So it has other things in there, and that is it. I mean, that's why it affects more than the COX-2 pathway, because it is, it has other ingredients as well. Sorry, I've got an itchy nose.
Thank you for your question, Mr. Beaumont.
Yeah, he's a good supporter. Constant.
Yeah. Okay. From Angel. Iodine blood work.
I think you missed one, haven't you? I was looking forward to the onion and armpit smell. Oh, well, that's later. Sorry, I've got it in the wrong order. Isn't that funny?
Okay.
Sorry about that.
So from Angel, iodine blood work shows high 135 2 times past year. Should I stop taking iodine, I guess?
Yeah.
What's the normal level?
Well, what is the appropriate level, and how has that been tested? That would be the question, because really the best test is an iodine clearance test. So that's if you've been told it's high, then I would stop taking it, unless you are having. But it's symptom. The symptom's actually the most important thing, rather than a level. But if someone has tested it and has said it's high, then you could stop. But I would be more interested in a little bit more information, because I'm trying to be careful here what I say. If it's high constantly for the last 2 times in the past year, what is the symptom that you're trying to fix? And is the symptom not being fixed, or is it getting worse? Is there other markers that you're looking at? And I'm trying to find my iodine Substack, but I can't find it. So anyway, yes, there is more to it than a number. I mean, that's one of the things I'm really consistent about when it comes to blood testing, because you can be told something's low, but if you have no symptoms or problems, then it's not low. It's appropriate for you. And that's the biggest thing. Now, if you've got it tested twice in the 2 years, in the past year, twice, obviously there is some reason why you're having it tested. And I'd really like to know what that test is. what's driving that test, because the context is what matters. So if you reduce the dose, that might be better to do as well. So there's not enough information really.
Right. Yeah. So if you can fill in a little bit more, I'll bring the extra information up, Angel.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that much above the level. I mean, the range is like 52 to 109. That's what you do when you're doing a serum test. But it's not as good as a clearance test, because all you're doing is you're measuring what's in the blood, but you're not measuring what the usage and utilization of that iodine is. Because if you do a clearance test, which is a posh way of saying, just to make the sums easy, you take 100 units of iodine and then you measure urine over 24 hours and you excrete 100 units of iodine. Well, you've not needed 100 units of iodine. It isn't as precise as that, but just to get the concept across.
I see. Yeah.
Your body is basically saying, well, thanks for that, but we don't need it.
Okay. Derek, here's your onions. Here's your onion. Carnivore 6+ years. Ate a very small amount of uncooked onion and my armpit smelled like onions the next day. Thoughts?
Yes. Oh, go on. Sorry, Dave, you were going to say.
I was just going to say, like, the time that I have tried to add something back in, straight away, the feeling came back like, I feel a bit stinky and I feel like I need to use deodorant. The only time that I added something in, like I had some nuts and it was like, yeah, this is weird. Like, and so maybe it's just, your body is, that's the way our bodies work. That's why you sell more deodorant that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because onion is sulfur containing, that gets metabolized into a thing called AMS, and we excrete that as a smell. So yeah, I just think that's quite funny, because it's the reverse of what we're always said, isn't it? When you go carnivore, you don't need deodorants, you don't need this. I can't believe that this shirt, I do have more than one of these shirts, by the way. This is blue, not purple. I don't have to wash it after every wearing. Far from it, and if I go to the gym, I'm surprised that my t-shirt I can wear it the next time I go, whereas no way I could have done that with carbohydrates. No way on earth.
Yeah. When you think about, like, if you're reading a carnivore diet, you tend not to have the BO, you tend not to smell, you tend not to sweat the same way. And the whole time, plant-based advocates have been telling us the exact opposite. They're like, don't eat meat, that'll rot in your gut and you'll be stinking and you'll be this and you'll be that. And it's not true at all. Okay, question from April. Dave, what's your favorite local Japanese dish? Curious. Well, yakiniku, which is basically Korean barbecue.
Right.
And it's just yaki is grill, niku is beef. Basically, you go in there and you order a plate of raw beef and they put it on the table and then you grill it on the grill in front of you. So it's really simple and it's like a carnivore's dream, because you can just sit there ordering meat all night. Yeah, they've got, if you've ever seen the movie Lost in Translation, they end up at a yakiniku shop there. And I've forgotten his name. Do you know the guy that's in Lost in Translation? He was a Groundhog Day guy.
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray. Yeah, Bill Murray's making fun of the menu because nothing's cooked on the menu. But yakiniku is pretty good.
What Wagyu doesn't Wagyu translate to Japanese cow?
Wa is Japan and Gyu is beef, basically.
Yeah, it's a Japanese beef. Wagyu, because it sounds all exotic, doesn't it? But no, it's just
it's just Japanese beef. Yeah. So so I think the kanji, the Chinese character for gyu is the same as for niku.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's one of the complications about Japanese, right? Like all the characters can be read in multiple ways. Yeah.
Lost in Translation was a good movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah.
I liked it. I like Bill
what's
Murray.
the other one? Stripes. I never saw Stripes.
No, not seen it.
Yeah. I like Bill Murray. He's good. He's got that kind of dry delivery that makes it funny. Yeah, he's not all energetic kind of comedian. He's more dry.
Yeah.
I like that.
Can I just pick up on a comment? Someone
Sure.
said, I thought excess iodine just gets peed out. Yeah, it does. But that's putting strain on the kidneys, just for the person that pointed that out. So just because the kidney does that is something you don't necessarily want to keep doing. It's not, to be honest, it's a bit like saying, well, fiber's all right then, because all that happens is you poop it out. You know,
but it's all the destruction that it wreaks on the way out of there that's the problem.
So iodine becomes iodide in the physiological pH. So there's a process straight away that doesn't need to happen, and then it's got to be managed. And then the body's got to say, we've got too much of that. So you're just giving your body something to do when an iodine clearance test, sorry to get on my high horse about this, but just to do one test, an iodine clearance test, gives you so much more nuance and also works out what your dosage should be if you are deficient. And in fact, if you could do an iodine clearance test twice over, say, a 6-month period, you'd get an even better view of what's happening. So why guess when you can test? Why take a supplement maybe you don't really need just because? And I'm not picking up on you, by the way. I think it's a really good comment because you know, it is very glibly offered as a thing to do. And it's great for many people because you take some iodine and you feel better. So that has almost proved that you are iodine deficient. But are you then taking too much? You know, are you doing 2 drops when you only need 1? You're doing a drop a day when maybe you only need to drop every 3 days. You know, so it's my job, isn't it, to say what the information is and what you can do. So an iodine clearance test is really good. And then you can look at things like potassium iodide as a tablet, which is a much more nuanced dosage rather than a drop, which is a little bit sort of, it's got a lot of variation there. Sorry.
Thank you very much. Ipso facto 66.
Ipso facto. I like it.
Lauren. What tests can I take besides A1C, which won't go lower than a 5.6 on Carnivore for 2+ years? I asked above, but forgot my QQ. I know fructosamine is one of them. Yeah.
Fructosamine is the best one. You can do 1,5 AG, you know, a glycated albumin test, but, you know, fructosamine is the best test. Simple as that. And the difference in the HbA1c, firstly, 5.6 doesn't even bother me. I don't think that's particularly bad. The one off the top of my head recently, somebody did same day, same test. They did the HbA1c, well, the blood draw for their HbA1c, but they also requested fructosamine on the same day. The HbA1c said it was 5.9%. The fructosamine said it was 4.8%. Fructosamine is more. Oh yeah, it's much more accurate. HbA1c is very unreliable. And 5.6 I wouldn't even worry about anyway, but you know, the fructosamine is better.
Wow, that's a massive difference.
It is a huge difference. Did you not realize that it was that different? Because it's really common in this way of eating.
I mean, I knew the A1C tended to be probably had a tendency to be elevated for some carnivores, but yeah, I didn't know the difference between the two was that big. From Anne, what can we say to the many who say that the longest living people are plant-based? There's some four-letter words you can say to them. Yeah, I'm not going to say those on a live stream, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I'd say prove it. How do you get that? information. And more often than not, if they're quoting things like the blue zones, I've just released my interview with Belinda Fetke, and blue zones is a load of nonsense as well. It's just factually not true. Simple as that, really. The longest living people on the planet eat the most meat, don't they? Isn't that Hong Kong?
So the thing is, like, there's so many people that rely on this blue zones thing, and they just throw it out there, and it's so frustrating because basically all they're telling you is, I have never been to any of these places, and I'm relying on this information from someone else who I probably can't remember, you know, because certainly Okinawa is very meat heavy in their diet. Sardinia is meat heavy.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a franchise, it's a business. People don't seem to realize that they make a lot of money on the certification of it being a blue zone. It is a business, and it's promoted to people to be able to say, oh, you could become a blue zone, give us, you know, I think it's $3 million or something, and then we can help you become a blue zone. And what did you not know that?
No, I didn't know that. We can help you become a blue zone. We're going to plant some apple trees or something. And
well, yeah, the weird thing about the whole setup is it actually destroys the historic food of that area. You know, that's a definite thing. And as Belinda was saying, if you go to Loma Linda, which is one of the blue zones, you know, it's all air conditioned and super wonderful buildings with, you know, it's not natural at all. And there's a few things in her interview which, well, afterwards, which I'd love to share with you, but can't really share. But it is a con. It's just such a con.
Yeah. Okay, from Christine. I went from 623, now 955 level B12, now 1.5 years on carnivore.
Yep. Because there's more B12. Sorry. I mean, that is showing you that you're, you know, the upper end of the range, which is very good. If you're ever worried about it being too much, you can do what's called an MMA test, methylmalonic acid test, to make sure that the B12 is being converted to the tissues. But yeah, it's great. Well done.
Question from Wonder Wonderful. Stephen, where can we find you? I don't see you on your YouTube channel. So you're coming from my channel, it looks like. If you go down to the show notes and you expand it, click more, Stephen's channel link is in there.
Yeah. Coach Stephen, youtube.com/@Coach Stephen with a PH. Maybe that's why you're not finding me. Maybe you're spelling it wrong. But you're not, because you put Stephen correctly in your question. So yeah, that's how you found it. I'm definitely there. And I think I'm up to 45,000 subscribers at the moment. So
nice.
It'd be nice to get to 50,000 by the end of the day. So go over and subscribe.
Okay. Last question today. Ipso facto 66. Does anyone know if there are any meetups in Melbourne and or conferences coming up in Australia in 2026? Yes, there is one in Adelaide. I believe it's in September. And that'll be Dr. Kelt, Sally K. Norton, Dr. Baker, and quite a few others. That's in Adelaide. I'm not sure of the link, but if you check out melissab.au on Instagram, she'll have a link in her Instagram because she's the organizer. So melissab.au. Was
you invited, or are you not in the right area?
I'm not speaking at this one. I spoke at the last two.
Right.
It's this one is just doctors. it looks like. So yeah.
Okay.
And Natalie West is going to be there as well.
Oh, she's good.
Yeah. So it should be a good event. But yeah. So guys, thank you very much for joining us this evening, this morning, this afternoon. And it's been really nice of you to chat with us and put your questions in. And also thank you very much to the people who sent the super chats through. And we will be back with you next week.
Yep.
Coach Stephen, thank you very much for doing this. Really appreciate it.
No, it's always a pleasure, Dave. You're such a gentleman, a scholar, acrobat, and everything.